Welcome back, viewers, to the full race replays here from the opening round of the Northern Heavyweight Championships here at Warden Law in Sunderland. You join us in this video for Heavyweight Race 3. This is the final race of the day, and it's Alex Cowley who's qualified on pole position with a sensational lap time in one of his first ever competitive outdoor events. Starting alongside him on the front row of the grid is Lewis Ashforth, who's a front runner here in Warden Law's in-house championships, whilst Colin Marshall is starting in P3, having finished third in last year's Northern Heavyweight Championship. Stuart Roper is starting alongside him on the second row of the grid. He's made a fantastic debut so far today, whilst Chris Shield is starting in 5th position on his EKS debut. He's a regular here at Warden Law, and he's a founder as well of Quick Finishers Racing, whilst one of the fellow Quick Finishers, Anthony Deverell, is starting alongside him on the third row of the grid. Ben Pickard is then starting in 7th position, whilst Dave Sumner has won the first 2 races on the road, and he's starting this race from 8th position.
Here we go then. Our final race of the day in heavyweights about to get going. Here we go. Race 3 is underway. And it looks like Lewis Ashforth trying to steal the lead. Colin Marshall is in 3rd. As Shields trying to make his way past Lewis Jolly into 5th position. Now trying to take on Stuart Roper as well. Oh, look at this. Ashforth being attacked. Oh, and Marshall is off onto the grass. Oh dear, Colin Marshall losing a couple of positions there. So not the ideal start for the Scotsman, who was so strong in our first race. Into the Centre S comes the pack for the first time in this final race of the day. Everybody getting through there and the Dunlop chicane fairly safely, but a battle for the lead. Ashforth is all over the back of our pole sitter now, having fended off Colin Marshall. Colin Marshall might have a different view of being forced onto the grass there, but we'll have to see afterwards. Marshall, as you can see, just in P8, I believe. Coming across the line now. Let's see if Lewis Ashforth can steal the lead. It is, of course, Alex Cowley on pole position. Oh, being bumped in the rear by Lewis Ashforth. Ashforth denied in race 2. Will he be able to come good in this final race of the day? Cowley, who was so quick in race 2, quick enough to take pole position, now looking a little bit vulnerable here as Stuart Roper paused wide. Here comes Chris Shields trying to take P3, and Shields indeed slices up the inside. Not a great exit from Cowley, and Cowley has lost the lead. Oh, Cowley spun around by Roper. Half spin into the second part of the Centre S. Cowley gets going again, but several cars stream by, and that's Colin Marshall, Ben Pickard and Dave Sumner. A winner of the first 2 races, now slowly making up ground after starting quite a way down the order. I think just inside the top 10. Ashforth now with a bit of a lead over Stuart Roper. As coming into the Comrade Straight for the second time. Ashforth jumping around in his seat a little bit. Stuart Roper is P2, Chris Shields still P3, and Marshall, having been forced onto the grass at the start, is already back up to P4, with Ben Pickard P5, Dave Sumner P6, Alex Cowley, as we saw, down to P7, with Anthony Deverell P8, and Saul Gregory P9, and Andre Perehuda rounds out the top 10, holding back Lewis Jolly. Oh, and Roper leaves the door open into the Centre S, and up the inside goes Chris Shields, and look at Colin Marshall. He fancies a slice of Roper as well. So Roper will have to look over his shoulder ever so slightly in that grey helmet, as it is, by the way, freezing cold. Oh, and there's a smoking cart coming out of the Centre S. Somebody slows right to a halt at the back of the pack there. Can't get a good look at him, but I believe that might be Saul Gregory, if I'm not mistaken. Nonetheless, yellow's being shown, and Ashforth continues to try and extend his lead as he begins lap 3. it is Shields P2. Oh, Marshall up the inside of Roper. It's a duel side by side, and it is Colin Marshall that gets ahead onto the podium. Ben Pickard now also looking like a bit of a threat here to Roper. Pickard is the man in the blue suit, black helmet. We've not talked about too much today, Ben Pickard. And he, of course, has got Sumner all over the back of him as well. Can Dave Sumner somehow make it a clean sweep here? It has been done before in the heavyweight class. Most recently, it was actually done at Sandown Park by Will Tidnam in the pouring rain, of course. Ashforth is really got the bit between his teeth now and is pushing to make a big gap to Chris Shield here. Shield, though, has got his hands very much full of Colin Marshall, so it is Shield versus Marshall for P2. Stuart Roper hanging on to P4 with the likes of Ben Pickard and Dave Sumner nipping at his heels. Ashforth looking very, very relaxed down the main straight, but that posture belies the effort that he's putting in here to build the gap. Marshall looking for the move. Oh, dives into the dog leg on Chris Shield, and Colin Marshall is really recovering well in this one. And oh, a little bit of confusion there as Marshall gets a bit of a slow exit. Will Shield dive up the inside into center S? No, he will not. Marshall now starting to break away. I think Colin Marshall has got his sights set very firmly on Lewis Ashforth, who's still looking for that first win of the EKS season. Sumner, by the way, has got past Ben Pickard. I did miss that, but as expected, Dave Sumner absolutely excelling in this final race of the day and beginning to make serious inroads on the podium. Alex Cowley, a pulsar is still going in P7, ahead of Anthony Deverell, Andrew Peruda, and Saul Gregory, who wasn't involved in the incident. I believe it was Simon Fulton that we saw hitting the wall and smoking. Well, not him smoking, the car smoking, as we see Dave Sumner up the inside of Roper into turn one, and Roper almost didn't see that coming. He had nothing in response to that one. Dave Sumner just absolutely unstoppable, but will it be enough to beat the podium runners ahead of him? Chris Shield, Colin Marshall, and Lewis Ashforth. Ashforth still with the fastest lap, 74.6. Definitely looks like the track as the chilly air falling upon the temperatures have dropped, and it does look like lap times have dropped ever so slightly with them. Oh, a little bit of somebody on the grass there coming out of center S, but doesn't look like anything too serious. Let's observe the lap times if we can. As you see, Ashforth coming in to start lap number 6. Colin Marshall was 3 seconds behind, and I believe the gap may have extended slightly again. Colin Marshall 3.7 seconds behind. Oh, is Roper under attack from Ben Pickard into turn one. Pickard tries to go through around the outside. As you see just behind, Alex Cowley is holding up a train of Peruda, Saul Gregory, and Anthony Deverell. Very impressive performance in this final race today from Lewis Ashforth. Oh, and Pickard up the inside of Roper into the center S there, as it's getting physical behind between, that's Peruda and Gregory. Gregory just being held at bay there, I believe. And Lewis Jolly is right behind both of them as well, and he's bringing several other carts with him too. It looks like Ash Chivers in the middle of that pack. Ashforth, though, just ticking off the laps, doing what he has to do, not leaving any opportunity on the table for Marshall, Shield or Sumner to catch him. And that's exactly what he needs to do. Cool, calm, collected, needs to do. If anything, Dave Sumner looking a bit under pressure here from Ben Pickard, who is really taking advantage of a strong end to this day, as we see, oh, I think that's Lewis Jolly trying to make a move around the outside of turn 1 into the dog leg, and he's pulled it off. So I think that's Gregory that's just been overtaken by Lewis Jolly. Oh no, Lewis Jolly's still behind Saul Gregory, sorry. Oh, that looked like Wilson. This is Jonathan Wilson trying to make a move on Robert Solworth of P14 into the center S and then having to back out there. Ashforth, the gap between himself and Colin Marshall sort of bouncing in the mid, fluctuating in the mid 4-second ranges. So it's gone from 4.7 seconds to 4.3 the previous lap. Marshall starting to build a small gap to Shields, but look at Sumner. Ben Pickard is shadowing him every step of the way down the straight here. Sumner defends, almost tries to scare Ben Pickard by turning around very high speed down the end of the Comrade Straight. Wilson sees old Freddie going around the outside of him, so a move being made there by Freddie Winskill for P15. Ashforth, though, the gap back to 4.5 seconds over Colin Marshall. So Marshall is having a great recovery, but Lewis Ashforth is not about to have a rerun, as we see, oh, Lewis Jolly getting a bit frustrated now, I think, behind Alex Cowley. So that fight's going to run and run. Ashforth, though, knows it's just a few more laps to go before he can take his first win of the season. But he needs to make sure he brings it home, doesn't lose focus. As night very much falling, Ben Pickard up the inside of Dave Sumner into turn 1, and Pickard is through. So that has been into the top 5. Top 4, sorry. So next, Ben Pickard will set his sights on Shields. Oh, but look at this, Sumner not giving up, back up the inside of Ben Pickard. In the exit of the center S towards the Dunlop chicane they come, and it is Ben that keeps ahead of Dave. So Dave Sumner, a bold attempt to repass there, but not enough to keep Ben Pickard at bay. Time very much running out here. Checker flag is out, and it will wave for Lewis Ashforth, who takes his first win of the season in the final race of the day. Ashforth from the front of the grid was spectacular. Colin Marshall recovers up to P2 at the contact of Ashforth at the beginning there. Chris Shield is going to hold on to take the podium, and fist bump between Pickard and Sumner in their fight for P4. Oh, gaggle of cars fighting for the lower end of the top 10 there. Ash Chivers just holding on to a P10 from James Clare. So let's go over the final order. It is Lewis Ashforth that wins from Colin Marshall, Chris Shield 3rd, Ben Pickard 4th, Dave Sumner was 5th ahead of Stuart Roper, Saul Gregory was 7th, Lewis Jolly was P8, just pipped Alex Cowley at the end. Bad luck for our pole sitter there. Ash Chivers was P10, James Clare was 11th ahead of Andre Perehuda in 12th, Robert Southworth was P13, Anthony Deverell was 14th, Freddie Winskill was 15th, Jonathan Wilson was 16th ahead of Ian Simpson, Ian Wilson was 18th, Adam Gudgeon 19th, Cale Simmons 20th, Brittany Norfolk got past Wesley Chung on the final lap for P21, Jordan Forbes was 23rd, Phil Jackson 24th, Arthur Bennett 25th, Henry Lamb 26th, Adam Thompson 27th, Kean Stanton 28th, Junior Bruno 29th, Arthur Chatsikon-Stanton was 30th, and Simon Fulton after that incident early in the race brought up the back of the field.